All right, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Please welcome Mylen Yamamoto. Mylen is a multi-hyphenate media founder. We actually met when we were both 22 and I was at YouTube and she was starting out something for a company rather that does it all for creators and has continued building that over the last decade and a half, which is an indication of how old we are now. And please welcome our two-star guests, Andrew and David Fung, who collectively have created the Fung brothers.
Hello.
Thank you.
大家好，大家好。
大家好，你好，你好，你好。
We're bad Asians. We have first.
Mahalo.
For those of you who've never seen a YouTube video, the Fung brothers have amassed millions of subscribers, 500 million views, have an incredible legacy for the past decade plus of making videos. As we all know, longevity is the greatest test of quality, and these two gentlemen have really stood the test of time. They're also great advocates and informed news anchors. They also are entrepreneurs. They have their own incredible sauce that you can buy on Amazon called Smala Sauce and more. And so it's very rare, and we're very lucky to be able to have so much guidance from so many experts who've traversed the ocean. I also recently learned David is living in Bangkok now, so he's now one of us.
Sawadee Krap, right, David?
Sawadee Krap.
Yeah, Sawadee Krap.
All right. So today, we want to focus on how can you as a creator in Asia, whether it's Southeast Asia, East Asia, South Asia, West Asia, go to the world as these creators and these entrepreneurs have. So I'm going to start with Andrew and David. You've been creating creative for over a decade. What still keeps you motivated after this long? Because they often say it actually takes a decade to hit as a creative.
Yeah, I feel like when we first started out YouTube and we were talking about Asian topics from an Asian American lens, actually a lot of people were like, hey, are you guys just going to keep talking about Asian culture and making jokes about it and unpacking it and analyzing it? Aren't you going to run out of material? And then we were just like, I don't know. I mean, like, Asian culture is like 5,000 years old, so I think there's like a lot of content still there. And Asia is always, Asian people, whether it's the diaspora or Asia itself, is always a big player in the news, in the game, in our lives. So I just feel like there's a lot of content there, and that kind of keeps us going.
I think it's hilarious that you say there's so much Asian content because we're a millennia old. There's clearly a lot of Asian content being made in the back of the room, isn't there? Who is in the back talking? Two back tables. Who's talking still? You all are making too much content back there. All right.
It's
David,
okay. It's okay if you guys want to keep talking. It's a moment.
David, go ahead. Let me ask you a separate question. There has never been a better time to become a creator and make all sorts of creativity, partly for better or worse because of AI. You all make really thoughtful content, though, and videos. How do you think about balancing what is sparkly, shiny, sugary with quality, thoughtful content? Or brain rot, as the kids say.
I think the easiest answer is if you just deliver really good stuff, it will work. There's other ways you can make it too, like using gimmicks and using tricks and thumbnails and stuff like that. But at the core of it, if you have a really unique message and you just stick to it, I can't guarantee it for everybody because everybody's unique, but it'll work.
I would say if you have, to piggyback off that, if you have something like deeper to say, but you know it's kind of hard to get people to click on it, you do have to run a little bit of a trick yourself or use use a piece of content that already went viral and then you react off of it, but then say what you actually want to say.
Yeah, you still have to use clickbait titles to some extent, like even on really thoughtful, wholesome, like nutritious content. Like it'd be like if you were at a fitness bar, like a power bar, and you knew you were the best, most nutritious one on the market, the marketing would still matter. Yeah. Right. Just like it does for the non-nutritious bars.
Yeah. Like you got to call it like, nobody hates, like China's taken over, but then really it's just about like, oh, you're just like talking about like viral Chinese videos and like Chinese tech EVs and stuff. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, you kind of, like, is there some rage bait? Like even us, like, that's part of the game. That's part of the algorithm. To stay relevant, I have to reel you in just to say what I want to say. But ultimately, I think we build a base where people, they'll take the rage bait or the clickbait, and then they know that we're going to say something that's deeper.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, okay?
Yeah.
No, I think it's so
we didn't make this up. The algorithm was not our invention, you know.
No, but you bring up an important point of it's partly one packaging something delicious with something, or sorry, excuse me, something nutritious with something delicious or sparkly. But the second piece that I think is partly why y'all have so much longevity is there's a big mistake among early stage creators in the back. Oh, good. Okay, they stopped. See, yelling, Asian household, yelling works.
We all turn into tiger parents, bro.
Just saying, I'm
crazy.
just saying.
Mr. Chen, you are doing a great job of regulating this crowd.
No, but just to give you all a stat, Kevin Olaka, who is still 15 years later the global head of trends at YouTube, 15 years ago just tried to evaluate what makes things go viral. And a lot of early stage creators think you've got to do the most relevant, recent, trend type, sparkly nonsense. But the reality is, and I think this ties back to your longevity, of the videos and the creators that have the most sustainability and growth are actually those with useful videos.
Yes.
So it's informed videos, it's cooking videos. The three top categories now are lifestyle, so beauty, fashion, food, fitness, wellness, geek culture like tech, and then finally knowledge like finance or culture. It's not just comedy or other sort of, how do you say, down market categories that may not translate. So I love the position of what y'all said. Mylen, what do you think? What is the most critical content strategy now in 2025 if you're starting?
To one, like you said, make sure that the content sticks, that's resonating with the audience, but also think about diversification and ownership. I think, yes, use the short form platforms, get the attention, and keep the attention using long form, but also how can you bring community together? How can you use the newsletters? How can you create IP like Shmala or some of our other creators like Tubby Nugget, who amazing animation creators who have created 13 million followers, and not only are they building community, but they're creating IP that can leverage into licensing. They create books with it, and then also eventually invest back into communities.
Let's go down that path.
Sorry, I had to run off stage to grab my chili oil.
Always be
Mala
selling.
sauce.
No, Andrew, that's
Here
not
it
just a
is.
chili oil. It's a
Give a round of applause.
It's a
IP,
layo.
they own it.
Layo.
The coolest, newest chili oil, American made, but it could be made in Asia if someone got the plug, but right now it's American
We
made.
talk about this.
So,
So how, when you think about diversifying your revenue streams, since it's already here, how do you think about what products, events, sponsorships, et cetera, you go to next? What's the right mix?
Yeah, I mean, I think that after you've been in the consumer product world enough or worked with enough brands or you've been making content, there is an urge to, a lot of people want to start a clothing line or food product. Some games and some niches are harder than others to enter. But for us, what was sellable and what was a passion of ours was food, obviously. So making kind of a chili oil, and I get it, there are a lot of chili oils out there, but doing something different with ours, I thought was very important, and we together came up with kind of a fusion Italian, Chinese chili oil, and it's made in Florida, so it's cool.
I think it's really important for creators to think about yourself as a real brand and as a real business and get around people who understand actual real business. Only a few creators are going to be able to be that successful off views where those systems just like build around them and they kind of can be blind to everything. The vast majority of creators are going to need to develop that business mind because only a few creators get to that scale, that level where they end up getting to be sort of like an oblivious star the rest of their lives.
And I think that's the difference between like a creator who ends up essentially being an entrepreneur versus an entertainer. I think there's a lot of great personalities out there, a lot of pretty faces, a lot of beautiful faces out there that can do one or two things and they get some views, but unless they learn from all that process of working with a bunch of different people, do you really turn that into entrepreneurship, especially when the views start to, and it probably will happen for everybody at some point, start to wane.
Yeah, you guys have been doing this for over 14 years now? You had to pivot and create your IP. And so what happens when the views start to go down?
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens in every life cycle of almost any business. I look at ourselves as a actual, let's say we were selling burgers or, every company is going to have its ups and downs and kind of ebbs and flows, and maybe at years you expand your locations and you're like, oh, that costs too much. Let me retract and then focus on my profit margin, And so these are all to be honest, you're running your own business. A lot of creators out there, you're gonna hire somebody to film your videos. You're gonna have costs for your videos. You're gonna have editing costs. So you're just running a small business.
Let's talk about the transition of creator to creative company. Mylen, when you look at creators, what are the attributes or criteria you look for when someone is ready? And what are the first few hires, structure, scaffolding, all that you need to employ to make sure they're really sustainable as a company?
Yeah, so Clique-Now, we're a talent management company. We've been around for the past 14 years, and I think in 2025, you have to think of yourself as not just a content creator or entertainer, but like Andrew said, you have to think of yourself as a business. So what we look for when we look for talent, are they entertaining, are they talented, but also are they thinking of themselves as a business? And I think the first hire, a lot of creators, they go after, okay, the first thing I want to outsource is my editor. I'm like, actually, as a manager, like, maybe you might want to think of a producer, because the producer is the person that helps you create the frameworks and the organization, and they're the ones that hire the editor, and then you don't have to manage that process. So that's what we look for. People that are entrepreneurial mindset, they're definitely talented, and then that, I feel like, creates a sustainable career.
And I want to talk about brand deals because Clique-Now is so prolific there. So the Fung brothers just articulated that they pursued product because there's just an intrinsic passion, and it's nicely adjacent to a category that they're already a part of and leaders in. When you think about brand deals, what is the ideal brand deal as a creator? Who should I be going after? How do you make sure that it sustains over time, all that?
I think brand deals is one of the first steps to have something that's creating longevity. So of course there's the audience, and then you need to make sure the audience is engaged, because these days brands are so smart. They have that data. They have platforms like Beacons. They can just look up to see, okay, who's engaged, who is the audience, and then those are the people that through data, not just by guts and feelings anymore, it's like these are the people I want to initially align with. And I think the next step though is to take that type of partnership and think, okay, now that I have a little bit of revenue, how do I take the next step and invest that to create a team and a business and hire folks? And eventually, I think like the long road is, how do you get to licensing? How do you license so that when you're 60 years old, going blind or whatever, you can just sit back and have your IP generate money for you, or in your case, Shmala.
Yeah, I think you got to look at it like the record industry. A lot of people, artists, Usher, Neo, whatever, like famous R&B artists, they ultimately have their own labels, and they have like younger people underneath them. So I think the natural transition is anytime you understand the industry is you become like a manager or like a kingmaker of other things. But that's be like the gradual transition. If somebody is sick of trying to get 1 million views a video themselves, and like some creators are like in their 40s now. Like some people have families, they don't want to do it forever, but you still want to make income and utilize this expertise that you've gained in this niche sector.
Let's change gears and talk about distribution. So I think one of the big insecurities of every creator, whether you're uploading in your own country or in your own category, is how do I scale to everywhere else? And on most platforms, as y'all know, the majority of views for most creators actually come from outside of the uploader's country. So if I'm Thai and I'm uploading in Thailand, more often than not, the majority of my views are actually coming from outside of Thailand. So this is pretty universally true. My question to you is, how do you think about scaling worldwide or getting more views if you are in one country or in one language? Are there certain strategies? Yeah.
To be honest, I feel a little bit like I'll say it, a cheat code. Being born in America and speaking American English and being based in America for a long time was a cheat code in the sense of like you are really immediately going to get access to the highest discretionary income market. But for other markets, I would say probably for sure. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's like some sort of form of English, American accented English is pretty important.
Well, the beauty too right now is thanks to like YouTube video, they can automatically translate people's mouths and language. So luckily, language used to be sort of a hindrance, and especially when we were coming up. But now it's just much easier.
I watched some Indian tech reviews translated into English the other day.
Exactly.
With the dubbing.
Exactly.
It sounded like a kung fu
Andrew,
movie.
do you have ideas on how does one scale worldwide?
I think that honestly, And when you say worldwide, let's be honest, are we talking about like from an Asian country to the world? Like let's say you're in Indonesia, we're talking about Singapore, and you want to reach an American market. Yes, obviously like language is part of it. I mean, we know a lot of the Singaporean creators from years back, and I did think, to be honest, like they were speaking English, but part of their accent was like, I guess, unfamiliar to a lot of the Western country. So I think that was impeding some of it. But now with dubbing, or maybe the world is just a little bit more open-minded. But I think also reacting off and talking about global culture, which oftentimes is tied to American, but I think now it's becoming a little bit more vast. But like reacting and using global pop news and talking about that is still going to add value to the rest of the globe. So, I mean, I think that's part of it too.
And I think you need to go to where the organizations like Gold House are creating these bridges, or to Gush Cloud, who has that infrastructure in the different countries where you can go and plug in and then have the content, but make sure you have the partners that can help you translate what the content could mean to the countries.
Yeah, another element of this that Mylen touched on earlier is there's a deception of someone wanting to get millions of subscribers or followers, etc. But the reality is those with larger followings often have much lower engagement because it's been built over an extended period of time. So a disproportionate percentage of their followers are actually dormant or have turned out or dead. At least digitally dead, hopefully not actually dead. And so my question to y'all is, when you think about building a tight, engaged audience, what are the best strategies for doing so? And just to parallel this to enterprise building, we find that the creators that are most successful in converting into creative companies are those with very loyal, rabid fan bases that are willing to pay. It's actually not the ones that are the most popular always. You see this especially within the beauty, the fashion, food categories, where the average followership is a fraction of, let's say, what the comedians or the musicians have, but they just convert much higher when they sell product.
I mean, as people in the comedy niche, I could tell you it is hard versus like somebody else was let's say I'm a golf channel, a luxury watch channel, a finance channel about day trading. These are like hyper targeted niches with like generally considered high income niches. You know, it is different than comedy.
Do you feel like as a comedian, the way that you can do it, and I think Jim Lauterbach spoke to it earlier, is to bring that community into these like stand-up comedian stages.
I'm not even gonna lie. I think
people, keep them engaged, create your ambassadors.
Yeah, for us, I would say representing Asian American enclaves, whether on the East or the West Coast, or now the diasporic abroad. That's a niche too. You know, that's how you niche it down. From like, oh, I'm just like McDonald's, because even McDonald's regionally is still like localized.
Yeah, I think doing Smala actually forced us to do a couple things that we weren't doing before, honestly, and that we probably should have been doing, like garnering a email listing and targeting them. And, you know, we could probably start a Discord. I know some people do that with their fan bases. I'm not going to lie, we haven't done that yet, but we possibly could. Like building these channels out where we're bringing our community together of hundreds or maybe thousands of followers that we can speak directly to.
Yeah, the stat on this is that a minority of users drive a disproportionate percentage of engagement revenue. It's typically 20 to 80. Yeah. 20% drive 80%. And when you go to certain niches, like gaming in particular, the nicher the more, it becomes even more lopsided. So 5%, for instance, of gaming viewers on average on Twitch and YouTube drive 65% of viewing time and therefore revenue as well. So all the more why I think building these sort of niche enclaves is so important. I want to touch this separate thing. There's also a deception among creators that you have to be ubiquitous. You have to be on every platform and you have to tailor yourself to every platform. Is this true? And if not, it's not. Then what platforms does one need to be on, and how do you think about that?
I think short answer is you got to be on the platforms that work for you. But you can't, not everybody has the bandwidth to post on like 40 things. And like not, if you make one piece of content, it's not going to hit the same. You know, you filmed it in TikTok. Now you're just trying to port it over with a little watermark, and then you're trying to remove the watermark, little AI thing, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, I think you have to find the one that matches you. And each of them cater to different demographics. Some cater to 6 seconds, some cater to 6 minutes.
Yeah, I will tell you this, and I don't know if we're a little old school for this, but I've stuck by YouTube, and we're like, yo, we are strong in YouTube. Mylen has been like, hey guys, make sure you're posting on TikTok every week. And I'm like, I don't know.
That was
Mylen.
2021.
Yeah.
It looked
there's-
like TikTok was going to take over.
I still.
There's X, there's Threads, there's TikTok, there's
YouTube's back.
People are asking me, are you on Red No Xiaohongshu? I'm like, I can't,
Yeah.
what? I got to do Weibo now? Like, what am I, WeChat content? Like, I can't do it. We don't. But
Fair.
because I know that our brand and niche is actually English, especially English-speaking Asians, not necessarily from America, but they could be from all over the world. That's kind of our niche because we talk about those topics that specifically.
That being said, if anybody is here from Douyin or Bilibili,
Yes.
I'd be happy.
I'm not against, by the way, I'm not against those. I'm just like, we haven't had the bandwidth to post on it. Like, there's nothing,
That's
but
fair. I think like understanding the unit economics of where you put your energy into, like everyone knows that TikTok, the return on that isn't as great as like, let's say YouTube right now, or even looking at Meta. There was a time when the bonuses were like they were massive earlier this year, but then it went down. So I think it's like figuring out where you're getting the best return on your investment and also knowing how much it costs to create that content, long form versus short form. How much does it
Right.
cost? What's your
Vertical
ROI?
versus horizontal, and IG Reels is paying now, right?
Let's do like binary. So if you had to pick one or two platforms for each of the below, which ones do it best? I want to be famous as a creator. Which platform makes me famous fastest?
Twitch.
TikTok, Instagram.
TikTok and Instagram. David?
I was gonna say Twitch, but it's really, really hard to break through. You're not beating Kai Cenat.
Okay. Mylen?
TikTok.
Which one?
Wait. Sorry. I know that you wanted to do the binary questions, but what if you're an insane personality and you're going to run out into the street? Twitch.
Okay.
But if you're at home, the Instagram, TikTok.
Okay, deal. Second, fortune, money. Which platform converts the most and will make you the wealthiest? Whether
YouTube.
From where
So
the
whether it's
brand
endemic
deals,
monetization or it's because of what it links out to.
I think if you're big on YouTube, you're
Look at
pretty
Mr.
good.
Beast. Look at Logan Paul. Look at whatever.
They're all from YouTube. And a lot of TikTokers went to YouTube. A lot of Instagrammers, a lot of Viners went to YouTube.
What about Mylen?
YouTube.
Yep. What about nutritious, thoughtful content? What platform?
YouTube.
And LinkedIn and Substack.
Oh, that's
Podcast?
funny.
I said podcast.
What about short form? Like Reels, TikToks, all that. Which platform is best for those?
Instagram.
TikTok, Instagram.
Wow, controversial.
I
Instagram
would
is
say,
caught up.
I'd say TikTok for the views, but stickiness, realistically, IG.
Oh, wow. Interesting. All right, long form. Let's say over 6 minutes.
Netflix. Just kidding. YouTube.
YouTube.
Which
I
platform?
think Instagram is growing in that.
Interesting. Which platform is the most creative? Where do you go for inspiration?
I'm still going to YouTube, man. I think YouTube has the best, like, all
Neil
in
is
one.
so happy right now.
I think YouTube has the best information.
I would agree.
I think that there's a lot of smart commenters on YouTube. Not to say the other platforms don't have smart. I think there's a lot of other noise on the other platforms, but I think usually YouTube comments, like, they'll kind of sift through, and there's a bunch of people. It's like almost like a peer review on that video, so people will correct things oftentimes. So I like that.
Let's say that you're starting out at YouTube, which we all agree is the greatest platform of all time.
But the other platforms are great too. If anybody
love all
wants to help
platforms.
us out.
But there's one king.
Yeah.
By ours. If you wanted to get big on YouTube quickly and we're starting from scratch today, which we all know it's very saturated but not impossible, what are the fastest ways to get large on YouTube?
Collaborate.
Who should one collaborate with? Because there's a deception among creators that I need to go for the biggest creator because they're going to lift me up the fastest. Do you find that that's actually true, or should someone go more their size and slightly larger?
If you collab with somebody that's super big, but their audience doesn't feel like, for whatever reason, your thing doesn't have any appeal, it's not going to do anything for you. You'd be better off, like, if I'm a golf channel partnering with another golf channel. Like, I'm the serious one, they're the silly one. Now we're cross-pollinating. Versus, like, if I'm a golf channel and I go with, some other niche like an MMA channel, how's that going to work? Like,
Sometimes I watch
golf and do MMA.
I watch the financial channels, and there's all different types of people doing finance education, whether they're like Black American, they're white, they're Asian, and sometimes I see them collab almost like the Avengers coming together, the diversity Avengers. So you have a Black, white, and an Asian guy all talking about stocks together, and those, I think that's cool, So, like, yeah, it's more about, like, your topic. I think so,
Let's talk about trends in the last few minutes. What are the top 3 trends, top platforms, top creators, top formats that you're monitoring that you think everyone should be paying attention to? Mylen, we'll start with you.
I don't know.
Just looking at Sora and seeing what's happening with AI. I don't know. I'm just absorbing it and learning as we go.
We'll come back to that at the very end. David.
The biggest trend I've seen is just being beautiful. I swear to God, I was like looking at the young Gen Z creators. I was like,
yo,
man,
they're
they
all
must
hot.
have drained the modeling agencies full of just quirky people. Yeah,
Yeah, everybody knows how to be hot now.
that's the biggest cheat code.
Well, because if you grew up watching Michelle Phan, I mean, how do you not know how to be hot, right? I think
It's also okay if you're not canonically hot. Beauty fades.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's boring.
You just got to be smarter.
no,
than
you
it.
just add value.
Beauty
Yeah,
breeds bad
just like real life, guys.
Just
Think
be
about it.
interesting then.
Correct.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, I think AI is interesting because I think the internet should split into 2, an AI internet and a actual human internet, like content-wise. And I hope that, like, for example, I hope YouTube regulates, and I think they are probably thinking about this a lot, regulate AI-generated content and differentiate that from human
So
content.
far, yes.
Yes. And I think other platforms should do that as well. So I think that's something that's going to happen.
On AI, how do y'all use AI currently, especially in your creative process and or your marketing process?
Go ahead.
Oh, I use it to analyze deals. It's a good deal.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's great for that. I mean, I would say scripts for sure. I haven't really delved into the stuff where it's like they're doing stuff for you, like active execution yet, but I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
Thumbnails.
Copy and paste some contracts into that thing and have it analyze it for you. But yeah, I think script, I don't know about using it for visuals yet. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know how I'd use it. But yeah, like there's some branded stuff where like, oh, you can AI the brand into your video now. So I think that's useful so that you don't have to like verbally say it. So I think those things are cool.
Last hard question. Do y'all think fans care if something is AI or not?
I hope so. I think they do.
I think they do, especially if the ones that are huge fans and they're being taught that, oh, my animator, the Tubby Nugget, they see them drawing it. They're gonna feel disappointed if they see their favorite creator using AI.
All right, last question, truly last question. What is the most important piece of creative advice someone ever gave you that you would give yourself in, what did we all start out in, 2010? What would you tell yourself if you were to start all over again? Now.
I would say talk to somebody who's an expert, and get all the info, somebody that is in the same lane as you, that you respect, but ultimately, based off your own life situations, you're gonna progress on your own path. You know, like if everybody's like, yo, AI is the thing right now, that's true globally in a macro, but your own micro situation might be like, oh, I'm still doodling it out like 2010 YouTube. Do you know what I mean? But still know that AI is where the macro shift is. But your own individual situation could or could not like cut against it.
2 pieces. 1, keep making content. You can always pivot. And also, you can always delete stuff. They give us the delete button for a reason. They give us a block button for a reason, guys. Use it if you need to. Number 2 is find your value. You know, like I think for a lot of the people in this room, it's not just like, oh, I just want to make videos to be famous and be famous. You know, that's going to lead you to do a bunch of crazy stuff that you maybe shouldn't be doing. But I think, and you might make you depressed and manic and crazy at the end of it. But yeah, so find the value and find your mission.
Best advice, creative, very important, stay inspired there, but also find someone that can help you financially plan your creative because you want your creative to be sustainable. And if you're operating from a place of scarcity, then it's a bit more stressful that way. So figure out how to keep a sustainable career and what are you going to be doing when you're 75? Invest and get there.
Very good. Mylen, David, Andrew, thank you all so much again.
Thank
Yo,
you,
thank you,
Bing.
Bing.
Jasper,
Yo, shout out to
Sheila,
Bing Chen, everybody.
And the entire branded team.